Hello, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to the international webinar Empowering Investment for Social and Environment Change. Today here with us with Anna Prata. She will make her own presentation. So this webinar is in the scope of the European project Women and Money that Investors Portugal it's participating and is promoted by Euroteam from Italy. So we will I will see all the participants that will arrive, but maybe, Anna, we can start with your presentation. So because there are already some persons here, so will be some participants, will be better if you can start now.
All right, all good for me. So hello, everyone, and thank you so very much for being here on a Friday afternoon. I will try my very best not to bore you to death, but I'll try. So about this topic, I want to give you some considerations about why I'm going to speak about this topic in particular. And maybe I will start by explaining that I'm actually a scientist. So I have a master's in applied microbiology, and for what was the beginning of my career, I believed that I was going to change the world by reading a lot of papers and kind of going to the lab every single day, and that will change the world. But I soon realized that for starters, me, myself, and I in a lab was not the best fit for my personality. It took me a while, but I got that. And second, it was a long journey, a true long of a journey to start with an idea in a lab and see it having impact in people. And so I started to wonder what I could do. And actually, when I was still doing my master's, I kind of discovered this world of entrepreneurship by having a class about that. And I actually hated in the first few weeks. Then I realized that it was it gave me several important tools to grab the ideas from the science, grab the ideas from the lab, and actually put it and having impact much faster. Why? Because there was money involved. And that was the first time I learned that I realized that probably I needed to learn a little bit more about money if I wanted to have a little bit of impact in something. I started like that, and years go by, and I will not go there right now. I founded my companies. I started to work as a consultant in several areas, mostly connected to healthcare and microbiology. But then I realized that there was an area that it was kind of missing in my vocabulary, sorry, and it was circular economy. It has this name actually. That's been a journey, learning how to grab what we now know as waste and put it back as money. That's what I do kind of for living in a part of my life. Today, apart from that, I'm also a teacher in the Faculty of Sciences for this area of entrepreneurship and innovation, and I have my own company connected to technology. With this being said, I'm not an expert on investing on several areas connected to impact, but I will try my very best to try to put it out there. Why is this important, and why is this a huge opportunity actually? So what is going on right now that put myself studying circular economy and becoming a climate pact ambassador, and what is going on that keeps me up at night sometimes, and I guess that can make the same for you. Sorry about that. Well, things are not pretty at the time. What I really want to say to you, more than these numbers that I will show you, is that according to some reports, the worst kind of situations, this one's here that you can see with the 3 Celsius degrees of increasing, it's already born the generation that will be extinct by climate change. Not suffer the effects because they're all, that's us, not being in a very bad place, extinct, like there is no conditions for living. Well, I'm 30 years old. When I was 5, I started to learn a little bit about climate change, and maybe that will be a problem for my grandchildren. When I was 15, I was told that maybe it will be a very strong problem for my children. Today, I'm learning that I might be living when this is bad. And the thing is that when we listen to this, when we actually see the numbers, it's almost so, or it's so overwhelming that it takes a while for us to actually try to do something. And what is going on that people are trying to do? So to big numbers, straightforward. There is an international agreement connected to put this average temperature below 2 Celsius degrees. The very goal is 1.5, and we will suffer. It's not about not suffering, it's about surviving. And the thing is that there is not a lot of people putting this out yet, but up to 2030, if we are not there on the 1.5, you'll see that these conversations will start coming out. Because I know it can sound extreme, but please do go and check on your TV the amount of people that are already suffering and dying from things that are connected to climate change and climate impact. Also, we have the Sustainable Development Goals that were kind of gathered so that we were able to have targets that were both economical, social, and environmental doable. But the thing is that in the middle of all of this, what can we do? Because it can sound too big, it can sound too much of a lost cause. And we choose not to listen, and we choose not to do something because on a daily basis, it seems like there is nothing too wrong with it. And then there is a fire that is strange. And then there are rains that are strange, and we keep with this. But there is no turning back from this now. And the thing is that when we look into what caused this, that's why the discussion starts to be very, very interesting. We tend to put the blame on the companies, put the blame on pollution, and we are absolutely right. But it is my conviction that they are also the solution, because it either gives money back or it will take us too long to implement. It might not sound pretty to say, it might not sound even fair, but this is not about fairness. This is about struggle. This is about surviving. And it is my professional belief that that's the goal and that's the way. So that's why we are here today. What is going on considering investing and considering having profit connected to this area in order for us to kind of having the future. So soft stuff. When we start speaking about this, we need to make kind of a point between traditional investing and impact investing. And the first word that will come up is sustainability. When you speak about impact investing, we are speaking about sustainability. And this is a word that we can listen for a while in every single project that we can come up with at this time. Every single project will say to you that it's sustainable. Well, for us to kind of think a little bit about this, we need to go deep into the definition of sustainability. And it goes something like this. It's about consuming the resources and applying the resources without compromising the future of that environment. I think it's simple enough that we can get. And actually it can come up to this. We can have a whole conversation just about the term sustainability, but I will try to put it in a simple way. Like we can use the resources, we can apply the resources, but we cannot go too deep that the resource is completely out for future generations. And this is kind of, yeah, it sounds logical, but then I need you to listen to this very carefully. If we go by that definition, stuff like killing these cuties over here can be sustainable. The thing is, if we go just by this definition, we are not looking into a lot of different things connected to the actual term of not sustainability but environmental. And it's actually sad to see that there are a lot of projects connected to the term sustainable that are using this term, so using the resources without compromising the future, to present business that are increasing pain and are increasing suffering around the world. What we are looking here, you cannot, or it might be possible that you are not very touched by the baby seal. I don't know what is wrong if that's happening, but well, it's okay. Just a few of them are killed. It's completely certified. They are completely marked. So it's kind of okay. But the exactly same principle can be applied in situations like this. If we don't look into what the resources and what the impact that we are looking for is doing to people, to the environment, and to the animals themselves, how can we dare to say that it's sustainable? And this is going on right now. So when we look into the actual definition of impact investing, just like traditional investing, it has to have financial returns, but there are two different things or two more things that have to be connected with positive social impact and positive environmental impact. Now, nice to hear, easy to say. How does it work? How do we measure this? It starts with an idea. Okay? It's the idea of having a circle. When you put what is your very nice space to grow, we are looking to the soft green, and then you start to define, sorry, what are the values that you cannot go on under the circle, which is the social foundation, which means that below that you are exploring people, you are pressurizing people for having your business, and if you go outside the circle, you are going to pressurize the environment in order to have your business. This is kind of the first idea of something that it's called donut economics. It's connected to circular economy. Donut circular is the conversation. The conversation is a lot about this. But this is actually a tool that we can use to measure the impact, the positive impact, both on social and environmental. Every single like triangle that you see here in the middle will be defined with target measure with measurable values that we defined before the project is put it out, and the outside it's going to work just the same. What are the values that we are measuring and looking out to see if our project is actually sustainable in an environmental and social way? And of course, it has to make money, because otherwise we are not going to have the donut for long. So there is no point. When we look at this is a kind of a tool for the companies to work and for us to actually look into how to measure impact, which is the kind of the very first thing that can come up with to mind. How do we know? How do we kind of split the ideas and see if they are having impact? And it's out there a tool that might help. It's not actually a tool. It's a criteria or a group of criteria. So they are called environmental, social, and government funds, ESG. And what we are doing now is trying to define, when we look into these criteria, what are we expecting to see from these companies? When we look into the environmental part, we are looking to a compromise about putting down the carbon emissions or the carbon credit market, which is something very cool that we are going to speak a little bit in further of this webinar. How are they managing waste, and what are their conservation practices? Are they contributing in somehow? Then we are going to look to the social ones. What are the problems that they have considering diversity and inclusion? What are the labor rights that are on the table? And of course, connected to this is kind of implicit in the system. What is the social responsibility that they are putting out there for the governments? When we look into the company, we are looking especially for transparency. We are looking for ethics, and we are looking for the data that show us that they are targeting corruption. Because, as you can imagine, it's not easy to be sustainable in all those criteria we were speaking about before. So there is a lot of something that we call greenwashing. And greenwashing, it's been around for a while. It's about companies that present projects that sound sustainable, that sound kind of environmentally close and not close, but concerned, but it's not much more than a marketing movement. This is a way of thinking, a strategy to actually see what companies are putting out there. And just for you to have an idea, there are actually funds that define the criteria, and the companies apply to be part of these funds to be invested. And it's growing. It's growing because people are starting to see value into the security of being part of these funds. It's so difficult to evaluate the actual impact and the actual sustainability of a company that people prefer, or the companies are looking for being part of these funds that kind of putting them quality certification that, yeah, we care, we are there, and that's why they are growing fast. Just for you to have an idea, this is a market that in 2020 it was around this value that you can see here, and there is a reason why I put the value from 2020. As you can imagine, the one from 2022 is bigger, but this is very important because this was the first time that we look into what happens when the environmental and when the actual nature works, and we cannot do nothing but stay at home and pray that science works. I don't know if you know this, but for COVID-19, so the pandemic that hit, it was not something that science didn't predict. Science was already waiting for it. It was not about an hypothesis, it was about when was going to happen. And yet we didn't know what kind of virus was going to put this. Remember microbiology, sorry for this moment, but we knew that it was all in place for something like a pandemic to hit. And it was the first time that we could see what happens when the whole world at the same time sees that we have no power over nature. And yes, projects with impact growth, and investment in that growth as well. Because we are all in this little planet together, and we cannot go away from it yet. Let's have faith in nature and in science. But the thing is, it's growing. But where to invest? Because if we look this or if you look at this as we want to have impact, and we have to, and we want to actually put our money out into projects that are putting themselves in front of what is going to be the needs out there, we have to have some kind of, not rules, but strategy. So I think this can apply to every single thing considering investing, but I will try to put my thoughts about why this is here. About when we speak about portfolio diversification, I think it's kind of obvious that we should not put everything in the same. But what I meant, or what I mean with this, is about not putting everything into the same type of technology, into the same field, because the projects that are connecting to managing waste, food waste, are not the same and are not going to evolve the same at the same speed that the ones considering water. And this is something that we have to look into. Of course, this applies to every single step, but here is of vital importance to see the science behind it, because we need those projects to grow faster. The only way that we have to do that, in my opinion, is to make them having a profit and not waiting for public funds to finance all of this, because some of them will fail. So when we look into this, when we look into what sectors are going to be there the most, no doubt energy is on top of the list as a trend, and it makes sense. Water management will be one of them. Healthcare, because we are going to start having problems with diseases that we are not prepared for. Education, because if we stop education, we are going to be in short, or being short notice of the minds put in place to solve the problem, because there will come the day when we have to have all these minds in place for us to think about solutions. So education. And when you speak about food, it's going to be a problem. We are more than 8 billion. We are kind of 2 decades away, I think it's something like that, to be at the same time in the planet, living and breathing at the same time. The exact number, or the approximate, not actually exact, but the approximate number of the total number of people that lived in the planet before that. Just imagine, from Stone Age to now, all those people at the same time on Earth. We are going to be living in that moment, probably. Yeah, I told you that the conversation was hard to hear. But when we speak about this, I really believe that we need to take an action, and that takes me to my last point, which is the direct investment versus investing in funds. Take action, or considering part of your strategy to take an actual active action. Active role in projects that you have or connect both connections or knowledge about, besides putting your money in funds or thinking about funds. There are companies that are working now with crowdfunding solutions to projects that are only connected to impact investing. And this is a way of putting money into people's hands that you are not connected to the area, you don't know much about it, but if you know, go and invest directly. Go and say, I want to have a part in it, because we need to speed up. That's the thing. And everything that we can do to speed up the process, we should be doing right now. Whatever we do about our strategy, and I'm no one to tell you what the strategy should be. I'm telling you my best knowledge about what I did when I look into where my knowledge is best applied and where my money is best applied. But at the same time, it's also about what are the obstacles that you might face, both as a person that has a company or a person that wants to invest, because they are kind of the same. And there is a huge problem measuring this impact. We spoke about this before. And easy ways to see this is to see if there is a report speaking about first profit and growth. We need that part. Then, is the company serious about how it's going to put their carbon emissions down, and what's the place that they are going, or what's the strategy they are going for? And there is also a data that is very interesting. It's about the number of lives that are impacted. This will tell you that there is a serious report behind it, not empty words about recycling, because the recycling is kind of, the last thing. You have a whole book to read, and then you go and read not the last page, but the cover, and you say, yeah, we are doing a lot. No, no, no. Recycling is the very minimum. So there are a few data that are important. Also, there is a data uh, connected to something that is here on the donut, and it's the political part. What are the legislations that the company are working on or working with to try and work with their waste management? Because I don't know if you know this, but for instance, in Portugal, we have a lot of struggles considering legislation to work with waste and put it in the market as a value, as a raw material again. This is something that microbiology people try to do a lot, and it's very hard because once it's categorized as waste, it's sometimes it's easier to start from the beginning than to go and try to move that certification as a waste. And this is a small data that can actually help you to see if the company is trying to do something that for me it's important. More than putting checkpoints on sustainability, are they thinking about how are they going to make money out of it? Because this is the thing. If you learn how to make money out of this process, you are putting speed into the impact that you want to put out there. Again, this can be an idea that not everyone is going to agree. I respect that, but it is my point of view. If it gives money, it will put the speed that we need to actually have impact and survive. So I think it's a fair point on my behalf. But speaking about the commitment of the companies, I didn't want to kind of start the final part of this presentation without speaking about some points that are here. We have already been through the no greenwashing message and the actual point about the carbon emissions. There is a very strong and very impressive report about from Microsoft about actual measures that they are going to take to put this down. And you are going to say, Anna, Microsoft is a huge company. It's normal that they have that. Yeah, the bigger they are, the worse is, or the bigger the challenge. And there is an actual good report with a lot of detail about what they are trying to do or what they are compromised to do. So if you want, just take a look at what they are proposing to put in the document as a, well, I don't want to say an example, but as a good way of starting to look for data and to look how these kind of reports look like. Then there is this corporate social responsibility. It's the putting out there what the company is doing to benefit the society that they are putting the products in it or the workers that they have to. And it's not a mandatory thing, but the leading companies are the ones putting this outside. The companies that people actually have, or the companies that actually have a good ranking with happiness from the workers are doing this. So it's kind of an indirect data that you can also look for. It's kind of obvious. Are people happy working there or not? Because this usually it's kind of a package, and it helps to look to this. And when you speak about sustainable innovation, well, sorry, not sorry. Tesla is still amazing when we speak about sustainable innovation. Um, it's facing some struggles right now, but when we look about, or when we look into the challenge that they had, considering electric cars and what they did, what they did with investing, and very smart investor investing connected to the batteries of the car. This is a an amazing an amazing case study to see what they did. It's here not it's not here as a go and invest in Tesla. Well, I mean, go and invest in Tesla, but it's mostly because what they did, and the team that they have, or the science team that they have, was very proactive in putting into the world the results and the protocols that they followed, the rules that they followed, considering sustainable innovation, and they are actually amazing to read. So, challenge. We have been through this a lot. Uncertain financial results. Yes, just like any traditional investing. So, we are going to move from that. Lack of metrics and standards. This is a very strong problem. It's also a very good moment to have an opportunity, because there are a few tools that are not mandatory yet but can help us understanding if those data can be compared or not. They are both here. So empower the GRI, sorry. It's a platform, or it's a company that it's starting to work, an association, I think, starting to work with actually matching data from different companies and starting to see if they are comparable or not. They have a lot of metrics to work with, and the impact management product is also working into universal metrics for us to look for when we are targeting impact. But I think mostly the cultural resistance, it's something to consider. Remember the conversation about the daily basis. So the companies are working, the money is flowing, climate change is a pain in a very sensitive place, but we can deal with it, and the politics will solve this and stuff like that. Yeah, this is a very, very big problem, because internal resistance can stop innovation. And if we are not looking into the importance of teasing this part, we are wasting time. And technology needs to evolve. And the way that we need to do this is to actually invest into ideas and to stop this resistance, because it matters. It actually matters. On the base of all of this is scaling challenges. And we all know, I think, a little bit about how how difficult it can be to scale up a business, but scale up technologies and scale up. I mean, physical technologies. If it is software, it's a completely different conversation. But I don't know if you notice, we are speaking here about a lot of ideas that to have impact. We are speaking about mechanical, biomedical, and healthcare technology, which will take time. And the only way that we have to scale up this is to put money there. It's to actually see if the technologies can be connected or not. This is a very interesting area to study, which is kind of starting to look up with artificial intelligence to all the sorry, wait, I'll give you the name. All the patents that are already being published in the world, and can they connect to different perspectives, into different perspectives? Are we looking into all that we know about water, desalinization at the same time or not? There are machines starting to work around this, and actually they are very cool projects, but they need money into their hands. Otherwise, we do have the technology, but we are not scaling them, and we are not making them faster or putting them into the world fast enough. And this is a very a very frustrated way of seeing it, but it is true. When you look, if you look into what is Google, or on Google, what they are, what is going on into the investigation fields, we have a lot of projects that on a small scale they could make, they are reaching massive result, but we are still looking into that barrier between small scale, lab scale, and putting that in the market. This is the place when we are needing, in desperate need of putting money, because we need to speed up all this technology that we have been through, and we have been working in the last 10 years out there in the market. And it cannot take us 15 years like the previous cycle. It has to be faster, because 15 years from now, we are going to be suffering a lot more than we are already. And some countries that are already facing stuff like wildfires like never before, or or are dealing with dries like they are no precedent. It will not be better in a few years, and there is actual technology to help on these situations. Either it's going to grow up fast enough or not. The best way for them to grow up is to make money, and that's why when we come up with conclusions for this conversation, of course, we have this major point of impact investment drives innovation, but it's also about responsibility. It's also about looking into what we want and putting the pressure on the projects and saying, hey, you need to learn how to make money out of this, because this is also in lack. We are still looking into universities, and we are still looking into research as something that will take 10 years or 15 years to have impact. We don't have 15 years. Oh, I mean, we have, but we are going to be in a very bad situation in 15 years. So speeding up and telling this project, hey, you need to make money faster. You need to leave the lab. It's kind of my job. That's why I'm putting this point so eager right now. But we need more bridges coming with this. And when we look into what innovation looks like and what innovation means in these fields, it's not about having a pretty cool car or a pretty cool technology. It's about impacting people's lives and nature. But we are speaking about people now. So it's about looking into the not the future generations. It's about looking to the kids that are 5 to 7 years old. They are the generation that can be extinct by the climate change. They are already in school. Just take a look at them. The next time that you go by a school, look, because it can be a challenge. When we speak about our individual responsibility, I think it's very important for us to look into what we want with this, not to blame ourselves too much about our individual consumption, because that can be a very ugly path, but to align what we are looking for our future and what we believe it's important with our consumption choices. This is something that I really think it's important to think. Now I'm going to try to put the video. There is a video. Oh well, there is a bunch of videos about climate change and climate and the consequences of climate change. But this one, it's very interesting in the way that the presenter speaks. So for this to work, I need to know if the video is working good on your side. So Teresa, please put your thumb up if the video is okay. Huh? We'll try.
No sound, Ana.
Diz-me. Sorry.
Sem som.
Wait, we'll try. I told you that this could be the moment. Well, I didn't put the box share sound, so that's solved. Let's try from the beginning. Give me a second.
If you condense the Earth's lifespan into...
Wait. Let's try this another way.
Fun fact, planet Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Mankind, about 140,000 years old. Let me put that in perspective. If you condense the Earth's lifespan into 24 hours, that's one full day, then we have been here on this planet for, drum roll please, 3 seconds. 3 seconds. And look what we've done. We have modestly named ourselves Homo sapiens, meaning wise man. But is man really so wise? Smart, yes, and it's good to be smart, but not too smart for your own good. Yes, we have split the atom. Yes, we build clever machines that navigate the universe in search of new homes, but at the same time, those atoms we split created nuclear warfare. In our quest to explore the galaxy, rejects and neglects the home that we have here now, so no, that cannot be wisdom. Wisdom is different. While intelligence speaks, wisdom listens, and we willingly covered our ears to Mother Nature's screams and closed our eyes to all of her help-wanted signs. Wisdom knows that every action has an equal and opposite reaction, so if we were wise, we would not be shocked when we see storms that are stronger than ever before, or more drought, hurricanes, and wildfire than ever before, because there's more pollution than ever before, more carbon, more trees cut down than ever before. At a record pace, we have increased the extinction of animals by 1,000 times the normal rate. What a feat. In the next 10 to 100 years, every beloved animal character in every children's book is predicted to go extinct. Lions gone, rhinos gone, tiger, gorilla, elephant, polar bear gone in 3 seconds. Species that have been here longer than us will be gone because of us in this 3 seconds. In an existence shorter than a Vine video, we turn the circle of life into our own personal conveyor belt. Somebody, anybody help. We were given so much, the only planet in this solar system with life. I mean, we are 1 in a million. No, actually, scientifically, we are 1 in a billion, trillion. That's a 1 followed by 33 zeros. And I don't want to get too spiritual, but how are we not a miracle? We are perfectly positioned to the sun so we don't burn, but not too distant so we don't turn to ice. Goldilocks said it best. We are just right. This paradise where we are given medicine from trees, not coincidentally, but because like the song says, we are family. Literally, everything, every species is connected genetically from the sunflower to the sunfish. And this is what we must recognize before it's too late, because the real crisis is not global warming, environmental destruction, or animal agriculture. It is us. These problems are symptoms of us, byproducts of us. Our inner reflection, loss of connection has created this misdirection. We have forgotten that everything contributes to the perfection of Mother Nature. Corporations keep us unaware and disconnected, but they have underestimated our strength. Contrary to popular belief, millions are waking up out of their sleep, seeing our home being taken right up under our feet. We cannot allow our history to be written by the wicked, greedy, and loony. It is our duty to protect Mother Nature from those who refuse to see her beauty. Call me crazy, but I believe we should have the right to eat food that's safe with ingredients we can pronounce. Drink water that is clean, marvel at trees, breathe air free of toxins. These are natural rights, not things that can be bargained for in Congress. See, they want you to feel powerless, but it has been said that something as small as the flutter of a butterfly's wing can cause a typhoon halfway around the world. But when enough people come together, we too will make waves and watch the world into a new era filled with love and connection, freedom for all without oppression. But it is up to you, yes, you watching this behind this screen, to make the effort, because time is of the essence, and only together can we make it to the 4th second.
Well, I would like to actually open up the presentation now and ask you if you have any questions. I just want to actually add that something that there is a reason why I showed this video. It's not for us to be completely overwhelmed by the situation and to come up with an environmental conversation or so. Is to remember ourselves that when we speak about impact, when we speak about money and investing money into having impact, it's part of the solution. It's not part of the problem. And with that being said, I'm all yours.
It was great. I still saying that it was great. I think that that must be one of the talks from all of us for every day. And I listened so many times that is not anymore the time of pure technology, but is the time of humanity of things, where the technology must be centered or focused in the human well-being and sustainability, like a technology more human-centric. Is this the vision, Anna?
Well, yes, but there is a line that that the human perspective and that image of being close to one another and to impact into people's life, I think it would be very beautiful of me to say, yeah, that's exactly what we are looking for. But the thing is that we are living in the same moment that people that do not believe that perspective have a lot of power and a lot of money. So if we go only from that perspective, if we struggle and we fight for that perspective, we don't have enough time, in my opinion. That's why I actually put my point into looking how to center business that are already in place into making money out of having impact. It's not easy, as you can imagine, but if we do that, if you show an actual financial or economical advantage of being more impactful, it will be faster because there is money involved. So I believe it's not the beautiful answer that I would like to give, but it's my actual opinion about this.
Perfect. So do we have another question for any of the investors here present? So is the responsibility now of the investors must be look for investments in projects that have a scope in social and climate impact? No.
No, that I'm not actually sure that there is their responsibility. We are free of choosing, but the thing is, there is a huge opportunity connected to that. because if we took a step forward into this way of thought, when things go bad, money will be placed into that technology, even if it is too late. We have seen this with COVID.
Yeah.
We should have we need to pay attention what happened, because money was put into project that had no actual hypothesis, or very good hypothesis to grow in the way that we needed, in the speed that we needed, but we were desperate, and we will be desperate again. So that's the thing. No one is forced to do that. I don't believe that way of thought, and I don't believe that way of seeing things. People that are putting money are the ones with the responsibility. They are not. They are free to choose where they put their money. But there is an opportunity. And I believe that we all want to be here in a few years, and our children to grow and our grandchildren to grow. But it's not mandatory, it's a choice.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I don't have a question, but I have a comment. It's like in Austria, there's a startup. They just launched a beta version of a platform where they want to show sustainable investment possibilities. It's called MoneyCare, and it's like a platform where you can look up companies where you want to buy stocks or whatever, and then they show you how sustainable they are in terms of climate, society, but also gender. Like, for instance, how is the ratio of men and women on the board of the company, for instance. So it's actually I can share it with you in the chat.
Please. You know that actually that's a very good point. You know, for instance, here we have a platform that goes more or less the same. So it's called Go Parity. And the thing is that the pretty cool thing about Go Parity and is all the projects that are there first. If they are there, you are already teased by this is connected to something meaningful, but then they kind of categorized all the projects in a way that you can compare them, and that's why I remember this example when we were speaking. But thank you for your comment, because it's I will check.
Obrigada, Sara. Algum comentário, questão?
Well, I think it was quite interesting, your presentation, but I always have I think it's clear to everybody, or most everybody here in the West, let's call it, on the more developed countries, that it's necessary to have a social perspective when investing. Most of our funds are also regulated, and are rules to be followed, and these rules are always going into the direction of the ESG. But nevertheless, we are not the only ones in the world, and the world is very complicated. We see every day there is always a surprise. So how can we balance these things? Of course, we can do the best as we can, but there's not. How do you see that? How can we balance that? How can we share that? Because it's a question of, I agree that someone in India that has nothing to eat, has a different approach to things. That's natural, huh? Or so how can we deal with this the diversity in the world in this sense? Diversity on development.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a huge question, but I can tell you, I can tell you that it's one of the perspectives that keeps me up at night. And I was so teased by that question, or by that thought, that I did something a year ago. I felt like I didn't know enough about the world to connect my thoughts about how is this going to impact people, because we are very fortunate here. It might not seem like it, but we are.
Yeah, we are for sure.
Yeah. Sometimes we lose sight of this, but we are. And you know what? I actually took a trip and I was for a month in Africa. So I started in South Africa, and I did like the south of Africa, Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and so far. And I learned a lot of things. I was very connected to the environmental concerns, but it was only in the end of the tour that I realized something. I saw a lot of poor people. There is no doubt in it. But I only saw misery, like deep, teased misery in big cities. And
Yeah, that's true.
This tells me something. It is we are not, or for me, it's not right to try to look into people that are actually well established and say to them, well, there is something that will make impact in your life, but can actually, if you look into the most developed countries, the most developed cities, that's where poverty will hit. So it's not, for me, it was kind of it's not simpler, but it was cleaner in my mind that we cannot impact the world as one piece, but people are struggling in the places where money hits. So either we look into this in the way that money is the problem, or we are going to invest in social programs precisely on those places. I think it's this is a kind of a philosophy, a kind of philosophy. It's almost a philosophy. Okay, I don't know what is going on. Okay, but the thing is, there are things that we cannot control. We cannot control political or private interests connected to political movements. We can say something about it, and this is a very Portuguese thing. We don't say enough about it, and we don't use our voices. We are very satisfied or resigned to not saying enough. And sometimes it starts like this. And finally, on my very personal view, we change the future when we teach our perspective. That's why I split my life in 2 or 3, and I'm giving classes now, because there is no way we can change all people that are on top, but if you start on the other part, maybe will be enough. But I don't know. I actually don't know. But this is my best contribution for that way of thought.
Well, I think that we will have good insights to think about, and it was very interesting as a food for thought to try to have a better approach to this topic. I don't know if there is more questions, Teresa. I don't know.
I don't know, but I think that we
Well, 6 o'clock on a Friday afternoon.
Yes, yes, I think that we're gonna finish. But the idea is that the investing in social and environment change must be a commitment for each one of us, okay, for everyone. And if it's a commitment, it's already good. And then we need to pass the commitment. And this webinar is our part from Investors Portugal that we'll try to do to the subject, and we'll do much more. We'll try to do much more for sure. For now, I just want to say thank you, Anna. It was great. I really, really enjoyed. It was very nice. And we'll share this video very soon. In 1 week, I think that will be already available. All these webinars in the website of the project. We'll share with all the participants. So thank you very much, everyone that have been here today with us in a Friday afternoon. And to Anna, that it was great. So I don't know if you want to finish with a final talk or something.
Well, I can. I think it's actually about not I really don't like it when we put the thing in the responsibility of people that are investing, and we say you need to do this because it's kind of your fault if you are not. No, you are more than you are free to do what you want, and I don't like that way of thought, because I think it will come up with nothing if you go there. Worse than nothing, it will put the money into the people that, or into the projects that know how to sell sustainability instead of actually having impact. And this was kind of a few thoughts that I wanted to bring out, like what can we look for. We're not going too deep, like I would not make a presentation about how do we evaluate the carbon credits situation, or the carbon footprint, but seeing this difference, for me, it's one of the major points in this presentation, just with a few notes about what impact means, what sustainability actually means, what can we look for in this kind of reports. I hope it was useful somehow.
Well, thank you very much.
It
Thank
was
you.
great. Thank you very much.